G'day. The 2021 Northern Hemisphere harvest is coming to a close, which usually means myself or another member of the HPA team would be in Yakima, Washington, doing US hop selections. Unfortunately, COVID has limited our ability to travel, so we're embracing virtual selections with the help of our friends at John I. Haas. This has given us the opportunity to be more transparent about our process with more of our brewing customers than ever before. We're excited to offer you an opportunity to meet the Haas Sensory panel and gain a better understanding of the Sensory Plus process they use to produce sensational products like Lupomax. Right, let's get into it. Here at HPA, we understand the flavour profile of a single variety can vary from year to year and lot to lot. Some variability is understandable in the US, where a large number of independent growers spread across diverse geographies all contribute to the yield of a single variety. This makes the selection process an integral part of our promise to always secure the best hops for our brewing customers. As the Aussie representative of John I. Haas, we're responsible for establishing effective procurement procedures and coordinating a supply chain that will deliver high quality US hop outcomes. Our place within the global Bath Haas group, our relationships, and the summed up contracts of our brewing customers afford us a place at the selection tables. This ensures we're presented with a great material that is supported by significant quantities. While HPA are responsible for the decisions made at the selection table and accountable for the chosen hop's performance in beer, we're readily influenced by our brewing customers who regularly communicate which variables they value the most and what analytical ranges they want us to consider in the selection process. This is particularly important since the hops presented at selections are just a small portion of the total crop. I'd like to take this opportunity now to introduce Jeff Daly, Associate Sensory Scientist at Haas.
Afternoon, Owen. Welcome to Yakima.
Thank you, mate. It's almost as good as the real thing, but hopefully see you next year.
Absolutely. Like you said, we're here where we do our intake evaluations every day. I'm here with two of my best trained hop judges. We've got Alejandro Cortez and Julia Jennings. And we are here to take you through the hops that will end up with your customers in Australia.
Absolutely fabulous. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your contribution. So we currently have 31 different US hops and 10 specific innovation products from you guys in our portfolio. Now, we know people don't have all day to watch us enjoy ourselves rubbing hops and talking about hops. So we're going to share the selection process for 3 key US varieties, 2 of which are commercial releases from the Hop Breeding Company, the joint venture between John I. Haas and Yakima Chief Ranchers. And Jeff, before we get into the heart of the rub, can you run me through your approach to selections?
Sure. We do a full sensory review, so there are visual faults that can indicate a problem with nutrition in the field, development, ripening. So we look at those first, but then we go into the physical aspects of the hop, feeling for things like oil and moisture content relative to the instrumental. And then we do a full sensory profiling where we go through, as a group, developing what we think this hop smells like. And then based on that, we develop a true to typeness score and also rank in preference for things like future evaluation for Sensory Plus or directed towards customers for their own selections.
So if we're looking at those really critical components for us, which is, because we're a little bit different. We're not selecting for HPA to go and make a flagship beer. We're selecting for HPA to provide consistent hop material to hundreds of breweries making thousands of beers. So our challenge is slightly different to the individual brewery who really understands what they need out of that hop. So for us, the really key components here are true to type and overall preference. Consistently meeting these expectations is mission critical to supporting our brewing customers. For now, Jeff, tell us what we're selecting first.
All right, first up we have Citra. It's known for its high alpha, its high oil, low cohumulone, which is important for bittering. and it's full of flavors of lime, grapefruit, tropical fruits like mango, and it's bright, and those flavors are why this hop is loved by every brewer around the world.
Let's talk through some of the data that we've got in front of us for Citra. Is there anything there that initially jumps out as potentially a flag or something to look for and follow up in the sensory to verify?
Yeah, so based on previous years, your general target for alpha is about 13.5 to 14% alpha, with a relatively high oil of 2.5 to 3. Most of these lots are within that alpha range. Oil is a little bit lower generally, but that's across the board this growing season, something we have to contend with, unfortunately. Beyond that, there's one lot that has a slightly elevated HSI and low oil compared to the rest, so we'll take an extra interest in looking at that lot to see if the aroma is enough to overcome that obstacle.
So, how would you guys like to get your hands dirty and rub some hops?
Absolutely. So first up, good balance of cone structure, moisture, oil content. Feels right in the hand. Really solid lot, not exemplary, but it hits all the notes we're looking for. It's tropical character, it's got that bright lime zest that carries through, and some woody aromatics that kind of balance things out, keep it from getting too fruity.
It's super complex in the citrus space. I'm getting lime, lemon, tangerine.
I totally agree, yeah. And then like some nice mango and then maybe some pine. It's really excellent.
Wow.
Good feel,
10.
bright aroma, yeah.
Yeah, true type 10 for sure.
Almost certainly a yes on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that's a 10 out of 10. If I was allowed to, I'd just hold this back for Luca Max.
Especially with like a nice like 3% oil and a really great HSI. Like these hops have clearly just been treated so well.
It'll only be beneficial for the blend, that's for sure. They're all great. It's hard to see them go.
Yeah, I mean, that's gonna make somebody really great beer.
Yeah, because all the others, the Obendorf, the CLS, the Roy, the Schroeder, the Weenus, those all really highlight that bright lime character that I think Owen is looking for. So,
Or is that like that first Wyckoff was a little bit more on the sweet fruit way up front? Maybe
yeah,
we don't want to
it
go.
had that more orangey sort of character. Green mango, I think you said, Alejandro. Yeah. So I think we got your blend here, Owen.
Now, Jeff, you've got quite the sensory capability at Haas. You've got quite a large team, and obviously the in-feed side that you guys represent right here is a little bit different from the full capabilities that you have. Could you talk to us about your team and how you've developed that sensory capability over time?
Yeah, I'm really lucky. A lot of professional programs for sensory, especially in the brewing industry, they don't get the resources that we do here at Haas. So I'm given leeway to recruit a large panel. We currently have 30 well-trained panelists available to us with a smaller, even more specialized team that Alejandro and Julie are on that come and do intake with me every day. That team's about a third of the overall panel, 10 people that are available for that. We do intensive 8 weeks of training. Right after harvest ends, actually, we go through 8 weeks through the new year, where we start with basic training on the flavors that are in our Hopsess lexicon that was developed with Dr. Schoenberger over in Germany. Discrimination, identification, and then applying those concepts, those theories to raw materials, the hops in both whole cone and pellet, and then especially brewed beers from Alejandro or Virgil McDonald, our other brewer on site. They brew single hop beers that we can then train the panel to compare those whole cone and pellets against the final beer to understand how flavor dimensions change over the processing.
Okay, so we've selected Citra. Thank you. What's up next?
Eldorado, one of a new proprietary varieties out there that isn't from HBC. It's actually from our friends at CLS Farms. High alpha, great oil content, really prized for these almost artificial aromas coming from a natural product. Things like watermelon can I use the word Jolly Rancher? Are we gonna get dinged for that? Because it really, it's to that brand. It smells exactly like watermelon Jolly Ranchers. Complex citrus that's underneath it. Really, really a pretty hop, aromatically speaking. Only 3 lots here, all looking pretty good. All just about the same in terms of alpha, same lot size, a little variation in oil, pretty constant HSI. Yeah, so let's take a look at the sensory first and focus on that. All right, big cones, flat. Bale storage was obviously good. Yeah.
Lots of lupulin, and it's that nice kind of yellow-orange that that the Demarays really go for. They want that. They want that like orange lupulin.
Yeah, the orange lupulin with the slight browning on the tip, because it's when it gets to that ripeness, that almost over-ripeness visually, that's when it starts to bring out those tropical characteristics. If Owen doesn't want it, it's going into Lupomax.
Yeah, absolutely. So typical Eldorado in a way of this like candy version of lime, but watermelon, sweet fruit.
It's got that candy note that we're looking for. It's got an interesting resin.
Candy, resin, green fruit.
This one's gonna be tough.
Yeah. So I guess we can, I think at least from the sensory perspective, I would say my preference is 1, 3, 2 in order. But if we look at the oil content, I think, and even the alpha content, I think number 1 is better not only in the sensory attributes, but in the analytics.
Okay, well, it looks like another unanimous decision on the grower lot from CLS Farms on Eldorado there.
Yeah. Unsurprisingly, CLS knows how to grow their own proprietary hops.
It is unsurprising, but still important process to go through to ensure the actual lot stands up. So that's excellent, great result. What I'd like to do is take a bit of a segue from selections. We've sort of set the scene around your sensory capabilities there. What I'd like to do is talk a little bit to the Lupomax product that you've recently released, because the role of sensory in that product is really critical. Jeff, would you like to kick off on that?
Yeah, absolutely, Owen. You know, we developed Lupomax for 1 or 2 major reasons. The rate of hop use and dry hopping to get the huge flavors that consumers want is problematic, because 1 kilo of T90s absorbs about 10 liters of finished beer, and that creates a problem when you're trying to sell all that beer and make up the cost for the hops going into it. On top of that, not every customer can come out and do their own selection. So sometimes they are left to the mercies of what stock is available. We wanted to fix both those things at the same time, so we developed Lupomax. It's our proprietary concentrated pellet that uses Sensory Plus, which is advanced sensory evaluations guided by instrumental analysis, added to our own internal proprietary processing run by Bryce Hyatt upstairs. And through that, we've developed a consistent product that can be used at a rate of about 70% of what you'd normally use for T90, while also providing these same big, bold, bright flavors that you're looking for. And hopefully, you know, if we're doing our jobs right, the Lupomax that you got last year will be the same as this year, will be the same as next year.
Fabulous. So the brewer's problem, so to speak, is centered around consistent performance and the advantages of enrichment as it relates to beer recovery. And this product is designed to solve those 2 issues.
What's the phrase, Alejandro? What's Virgil's?
Virgil's mantra is maximum flavor, minimum loss.
And that guides all of our new products.
It's relevant out here as we have that really long, supply chain, the shipping. Any efficiencies in that footprint of shipping is worth pursuing. In that sense that we're all trying to move toward a more sustainable footing, so shipping less material across the planet is no doubt going to be a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. To send you 7 pallets of pellets instead of 10 when it comes to Loop Max, or to send 1 pallet of a product like Incognito instead of 20 pallets of pellets, it definitely has an impact on sustainability and our carbon footprint. Yeah, so 2 down, 1 to go. Mosaic is the last hop. Released a little after Citra. It's got some similar characteristics when it comes to high alpha, high oil, low cohumulone. Unlike Citra, it's got this nice earthy element that's underneath the ripe tropical fruits, and that's what makes it a great player as a single hop on its own, but also blends really well with a lot of other hops, including Citra. Oh, it's nice and bright.
Mm-hmm. I think it's like that lemon that makes it seem really bright,
Yeah,
but also
orange.
herbal, floral banana.
We'll see. That one smells like a winner. I see that it's got the lowest oil content, but it's punching above its weight class.
Yeah.
All right.
You can really see the mosaicing of these cups.
Yeah, the striping.
I love that.
It's a nice color variation.
It's nice and complex. It's got a lot of blueberry and citrus.
More intense. So far, probably the most intense.
I didn't think it could get more intense than the last one. Honestly, and looking at your previous year's stats, I think Mosaic you got last year is about 1.5 on oil. So pretty much all of these are well above that. We'll keep that in mind. I see that 1.2 oil, so probably not that.
Yeah, and I would say particularly with these type of varieties, that a lot of the characteristic aroma comes from sulfur compounds that are present in such small quantities that sometimes it's hard to tell just by looking at the percent of oil.
Yeah, the 1.2 could have a higher concentration of the good sulfurs and terpenoids.
Yeah.
And then these others that are at 3, well, they hung longer, but then the oil is just filling up with less punchy aromas. So that's why I continue to believe, and not just because it keeps me in a job, that sensory is more important.
So, I mean, leaning towards the last 5.
So, Leo Gasling, Central Coast, Greenacre, Virgil Gamache, and Gooding. That's what you think?
Well, that's the end of our virtual US hop selections. I'd like to thank Julia, Alejandro and Jeff for their contributions on behalf of all of our brewing customers. Reach out to your HPA sales rep if you'd like to discuss Lupomax, US hops, the selection process, or forward contracting in more detail. We hope you got something out of this brief insight into the selections. We're looking forward to returning to Yakima as soon as possible and selecting future crop years of top quality US hops for our growing roster of brewing customers. Cheers!